It's the little things that kill, Chad Prevost. I was driving into work today, and my Spotify playlist, my Spotify daily match, it brought up a little bush, and it took me back to when I was 16 years old in the mid-90s in a Hyundai Excel with a portable Discman with 3-second anti-skip and one of those little cassette decks you put in your, the cassette tape thing that went into the aux jack of the Discman.
So you were slain in the 90s spirit, huh? I killed you. Well, it smells like teen spirit a little bit. Did you achieve nirvana?
I didn't, but I can't help that you are wearing that hideous sweater again.
Yeah.
You washed it. Did you wash it?
No Titans. Of course I didn't wash it.
Oh, does that take the luck away?
Yes, that takes the luck away.
All right. Well,
So, we have to do a repeat. We have to beat the
Ravens.
We have to overachieve again.
Go to Baltimore.
Yeah.
Well, do you have a bold prediction? You think they're going to take it?
Well, what I'm trying to say, would it be kind to say anything else? I'm a fan. We're going to win, I believe.
Well, if they do win, we are going to, where are we going to? Nashville, right? That's one of the things we're going to talk about today is to Brandon Fried Freed.
But as a wild card participant, it's sort of like the 1980 Raiders. You have to, if you want to get to the Super Bowl, you got to play every team on the road. So they won't be in Nashville. They'll be
yeah, they will. It's 2 weeks off. They'll be back home. We'll be there while they're there. You'll get to smell their equipment pads and be as creepy as you want to be.
Okay.
All right, let's pay our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by DHL Supply Chain, the world's leading logistics company. DHL Supply Chain's team of experts simplify the complex and work with you to find solutions to your biggest transportation challenges. Learn how DHL can help your business at logistics.dhl.com.
Hit the headlines.
Here's one. Second court puts big hit on imposing AB 5 against California trucking sector. Applying restrictions of AB 5 in California to the trucking industry runs afoul of federal law, according to the court case that was just handed down. On a day that saw New York Governor Andrew Cuomo call for AB 5-like legislation in New York and New Jersey punt the issue on legislation in that state, on Wednesday, a California state court, rather than a federal justice, said California's attempt to have AB 5 apply to trucking violates federal laws. That might be some good protection.
That's right. Last week, federal district court judge Roger Benitez handed down a temporary injunction blocking enforcement of AB 5 in the trucking industry, saying it was likely that AB 5 conflicted with federal regulations found in the Federal Aviation Administration Authorization Act from the early 90s. That ruling came in a lawsuit filed by the California Trucking Association. Its next day in court is Monday.
By the way, we got you guys up live, too, so we're monitoring live feeds. If you have any questions or comments, throw them our way. All right, on Wednesday, in a ruling handed down 2 years to the day when the original lawsuit was filed, Judge William Heiberger of the Superior Court in Los Angeles said much the same thing. The FAAAA preempts California imposing AB 5 on the trucking sector. If you head over to FreightWaves.com, John Kingston breaks down the story in depth. He talks about the two-prong method and why this is some sort of protection.
And Daryl Gibson on Facebook Live says, pray for the little man.
Okay. And the little things.
Yes. In our other next headline, Red Arts Capital announced that it has partnered with Prudential Capital Partners and Brightwood Capital Advisors to acquire MME Inc. and its wholly owned subsidiaries, Midwest Motor Express Incorporated and Midnight Express Incorporated. Financial terms of the transaction were not disclosed, but founded in 1918, Bismarck, North Dakota-based Midwest Motor Express is a top 25 LTL carrier operating 32 service centers throughout 16 states in the upper Midwest and Northwest.
You ever watch any professional wrestling when you were a kid?
As very little.
Okay, well, the Midnight Express was a tag team.
Oh.
Yeah. Midwest Motor Express has 800 employees. Based in West Fargo, North Dakota, Midnight Express Inc. offers dry van truckload and brokerage services throughout the continental United States.
Well, combined MME's subsidiaries generate more than $120 million in annual revenues. The two carriers have 431 power units, according to the FMCSA's Safer website.
Now, this next headline here, this is about Lime. They're cutting back in this new strategy to try and turn profitable. Who'd have thought that just dumping millions of scooters in downtown Dallas wouldn't turn a profit for like $1 a ride?
Or dumping thousands of them into the ocean or your local river.
Well, I thought that was like people who were throwing them into the ocean.
Yeah.
This has JD though. JD's out in Texas. JD from TT and Fleet Solutions. He already texted me about this 3 times when he saw this story on our website. He is devastated. He loves riding an e-scooter. And funny story, remember when he got that cowboy hat?
That was awesome.
He left it back someplace. He jumped out of the Uber when we were on our way out to dinner, and he jumped on a Lime scooter and scootered back to the convention center. He was back in like 10 minutes and had to cover 10 square miles. So
really efficient, actually, if you know how to get around there. And Trey Wynn says, "Go Titans!"
All right,
and tells us a good place to go that night.
The world's largest on-demand e-scooter company, Lime, announced it is shutting down its services across 12 markets and laying off 14% of its workforce in an attempt to finally make some dough. The company is closing service across cities where micromobility has evolved more slowly than anticipated, including Atlanta, Phoenix, San Diego, and San Antonio. I don't see Dallas there. Austria, some municipalities in Latin America, just not as popular.
Yeah, sorry, some of you big city folks there. Lime, along with rival Bird, they have been some of the fastest growing startups ever, reaching unicorn status, yes, in record time. You may not know that. They were buoyed by consumer clamor toward adopting sustainable mobility options and VC firms' fascination in funding nearly anything that has to do with alternative mobility. The strategy of becoming too big to fail before going IPO looked like a road paved with roses and sunbeams until Uber recently went public and then witnessed a bloodbath in its perceived valuation, with skepticism forcing the company to downscale, as we covered, its IPO valuation from roughly $120 billion to its eventual launching to $82 billion.
Remember early on, I got that stock at the beginning, and then I was like, should I sell it? Shouldn't I sell it? I sold it a long time ago, and thank God I did, because it tanked miserably.
Yeah, I kind of remember that, yeah.
Yeah. Lime's recent pullout from a dozen markets is not an isolated story, though. Rivals like Bird, Scoot, and Skip have all laid off significant portions of their employees because, hey, investors want money, right? They want returns.
Yeah, so they weren't too big to fail after all. But hopefully they stay around. I mean, I don't know. I want some access to some sustainability stuff. Sustainability provider, speaking of which, EcoVadis announces a partnership and expansion plan. So check this out. Rating sustainability provider EcoVadis. Now, you may not have heard of them, but they do a pretty interesting thing. They announced yesterday a $200 million investment from CVC Growth Partners. According to its press release, EcoVadis plans to leverage the funding to expand internationally, break into new countries, and further, and they're already in, I think we'd say it in a minute, 155, further invest its technology platform, their sustainability intelligence solutions, and network of rated companies. EcoVadis, they rate companies' supply chains on sustainability, corporate social responsibility, and other environmental, social, and governance issues, and they assess more than 60,000 companies.
Yeah, pretty cool. EcoVadis is part intelligence network, part SaaS cloud provider, doing some really interesting things. Nice to see a big investment in there. You know what's also nice to see?
Yeah.
A nice talk with Cassandra Gaines, who we're going to bring up on the line.
Mad Gaines.
Right now. Let's dial out to her.
Hello.
Hey, Cassandra. Hold on a second. I gotta play your intro music like you're a professional wrestler.
F you. I hate everybody. I'm the man. I will never give you my...
Order in the court. Whoa. Cassandra.
Who was that?
Cassandra. How dare you?
I just love that.
My favorite attorney. We're so happy to have you on the line. You always, you're a ray of sunshine in the sunshine. You're already making me have to censor myself.
I was going to say bringing some punk rock to the courts.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And no one's ever told me as a lawyer that I'm a ray of sunshine. I'm going to write that down so I remember that when I'm getting cursed out by a client.
Well, I imagine like most
that I was a ray of sunshine.
Well, I imagine most transportation law conventions and stuff probably are not like the most exciting places to be, because you guys deal with one of the topics we have to deal with is let's get like the bad news out of the way first. This story about this Matthew Lewis Small. He's 34-year-old from Granville, Michigan. He's facing 3 counts of reckless homicide. He killed a mother who is 21, this Maria Tomei, her 1-year-old daughter, Hadley, and I believe their friend Kaylee Kirk. They were all 19, out of Lebanon, Indiana. His defense was like a cursed coffee cup defense. He said that he had put the coffee cup down long enough for his eyes to be off the road to just plow through this car. Cassandra, is that going to hold up in court?
Oh boy, I don't think so. I think there's more going on here than what we are looking at. I did some research on this, and I've had experiences with drivers who claim that, hey, I was just, looking over to the left and I didn't see all the cars up front and I hit them. But this is what I think had happened, and I could be very wrong. But I have a feeling that he was very distracted, driving way too fast, and killed 3 people. And the officers saw that at the scene, because officers aren't most likely, in my experience, going to give a ticket or going to charge somebody with 3 counts of reckless homicide just because the guy had a coffee in his hand. Doesn't that sound weird? Sounds like there's more going on here. To me, it sounds like he was going way too fast. Yeah. And he was so distracted that witnesses probably said they saw him in the rearview mirror, and he never slowed down because he was distracted doing something else. And so here is a perfect example of what happens when you're distracted and going too fast. You, in a flash of a minute, seconds, you killed 3 people.
I mean,
and your entire life is also destroyed.
I was going to say, I don't really think it matters what he was distracted by, does it? I mean, if you're distracted, you're distracted.
No,
it's not much of a defense.
Oh, yeah, like the coffee cup isn't a coffee cup self or whatever it may be.
It doesn't matter if you were lighting up or selecting a new Spotify, tune.
It doesn't matter. And as a side note, you guys, this is weird, okay? I'm just going to tell you, though. Way off, not off topic. Do you know how many cases out there where drivers are actually watching porn and getting accidents?
Wow.
On their phone.
It's lonely on the road.
Well, I mean,
it happens a lot.
This is more for advocating for podcasts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Good point. Listen to your podcast. You don't need to watch porn or be texting anyone, but be careful. I mean, this illuminates, why you need to be careful out there. You can't be going too fast. You got to pay attention to what's going on. This guy's going to go to jail.
Yeah.
And his company, let's talk about his company for a minute, actually.
Yeah,
sure. A little research. VL Trucking Inc., based out of Iowa. So I looked up the details on his employer, based out of Iowa. And this is just interesting stuff. It's easy to play Monday quarterback with these accidents, but I just looked at the data itself for VL Trucking. And they've had authority for about 6 years. They claim to have about 120 trucks. I'm thinking they have about 60. But they do have some issues according to the data that's been reported by the FMCSA. So they just received a satisfactory safety rating, which to some people who are not used to this area of our industry would say to themselves, oh, that's great. That's a good thing. No, not really. They were just issued in July of 2019, satisfactory safety rating. That means that somehow they caught the FMCSA's attention.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's a good thing. When you catch their attention, that's not a good thing. They've targeted this company and thought to themselves, something's going on. We need to go in and find out and make sure that they're doing everything they should. They do have acute critical violations. They have major issues with driver oversight. So I have here that they have 103 out-of-service violations within 24 months. Not too bad if you're running about 50, 60, 70 trucks a year. But 2 of the violations were narcotics.
Oh.
And the 2 separate instances, drivers had narcotics.
Do you have clients?
Culture.
Do you have clients who come to you that are being watched by the FMCSA and they want to be advised on what to do next? And what do you do when you're in one of those difficult positions?
Dooner, that was an awesome question. There's a lot you can do, and really it comes down to we've got to find out what your policies are in place as a trucking company. We've got to look at how you train your drivers, how you're overseeing your drivers, and your vehicle maintenance. And you can always, once you get into the nitty gritty of a trucking company and you figure out how they're doing everything, it is pretty quick to identify, here's where you should button up and fix things. And you won't have further issues. When you have 2 drivers at separate occasions, just in 2019 alone, with narcotics, you got a big problem.
Yes.
Bigger, like most carriers don't have this problem.
Steven,
so that's something you really got to fix as a trucking company.
Someone on LinkedIn, he wrote in, this guy Steven Stotz, he writes, all these distracted driving accidents are going to have the government make driver-facing cameras mandatory. So much hate.
Well, here's the thing about that. First of all, it took us forever to even get ELDs, which to me is just common sense that we electronically monitor people's logs. I know the whole hours of service regulations are kind of wonky.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it shouldn't be that big of a deal that no matter what the law is, there should be some type of electronic monitoring so that people can't fake their logs, which they do all the time. So I think the FMCSA can be a bit slow to do anything. So I like to push the carriers, hey, you can save money on insurance. You can save money on having maintenance issues, on having tired drivers getting in accidents by just getting ahead of the industry, doing more than what the FMCSA expects you to do.
Well, speaking
but even
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, speaking of carriers, you guys are doing a Carrier 411 event, I know, pretty soon. Cassandra, this stuff is it's so interesting. It's so detailed and fascinating. We had more to cover, man. It's like, I like you ending it with us wanting more.
Yeah.
And so we got to do this again soon. But tell us first of all, like, can you wrap it up? Tell us a little bit about this Carrier 411 event, when it is, where it is, what's happening.
Counterintuitive to the name, it's designed for brokers. And I'm going to teach, Carrier 411 and I are going to partner. We're going to teach brokers how to handle all the problems that come in the door. And we're not going to put them to sleep. We're going to give them hard and fast rules, easy stuff to implement, save you money, save your time, save your business. And I think we're going to have a very special session at FreightWaves before the whole thing even kicks off. And FreightWaves people are invited to all of our events.
Well, boom.
Very fun. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Well,
you guys are going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah. Someone you know might be the surprised, not so surprised guest.
Exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
I mean, who doesn't want to meet Dooner? Come on.
Cassandra, we're definitely going to, Matt Gaines will make it as regular as a segment as you'll let us, but how do people reach out to you to learn more?
Oh, you can just Google Cassandra Transportation Law, or you can go to gaineslawgroup.com, or just find Dooner. I'm always hanging around with Dooner somewhere.
Yeah, like a giant
like
shark and
club.
a fish swimming next
I know,
to it.
you poor man.
No, I enjoy it, Cassandra. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time today. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks, guys. Good talking to you.
Bye. All right, now it's time to get to our buddy. It's Andrew Cox, right?
Yes.
From the FreightWaves Research Group. He's
research analyst.
So he's got exciting shirts when he joins us on this show. He's going to do the Pricing Power Index. DHL Supply Chain FreightWaves Pricing Power Index. What's up, Cox? Where are we sitting at on this thing?
Yeah, what's up? We're sitting at 40. We're down a little bit from last week. Again, a quick refresher, 0 would be all the power to the shippers, 100 all the power to the carriers. We're sitting at 40, which is a majority, almost close to a balanced market, but the majority of the power is still in the shippers' hands. And our reasoning for this is just, operations are getting back to normal. Capacity is loosening a little bit around the country. Our outbound tender rejection index, which is our proxy for capacity and a measure of carriers' willingness to accept a load, has gone back down off of its peak around Christmas, so it's now around 7%. So we believe that gives a little bit more pricing power to the shippers.
Well, you are getting better at this. Why? I mean, you're getting good at this.
You guys keep coming. You keep bringing me back.
When you get your own show now, you have a great quarter, guys. You guys cover a stock on there, and one of the indices that you guys look at in this index is transportation stocks. Why is that important to the pricing power index?
There's a couple of reasons. One, we like to cover it because a lot of the larger transportation indices, they kind of group things in. They group in commercial airliners, and they group in maritime and rails. And we think nobody really has a set indices just of truckload stocks or just of LTL stocks or whatever you want to have you. But another reason is Seth Holm wrote a paper back in September, and it was about that trucking stocks trade on the spot market. And even the stocks that have like Knight Swift and Warner, these companies that have 90 or 95% of their revenues coming from contracted freight, they still trade on the spot very heavily. So we think it's important to incorporate that into the pricing power because they move in tandem with spot rates, and because spot rates have been down lately, trucking stocks have been not great this year, but they had a good third and fourth quarter.
Yeah, well, we're only 10 days in, right?
Yeah, we're getting there.
Well, you guys, you're a part of the Freight Intel Group. You guys conduct a quarterly survey of small carriers, 5 to 100 trucks, to grasp their sentiment of volumes, rates, diesel prices, and expectations. What are they saying right now?
They're kind of tepid. They're lukewarm a little bit. They don't. Expectations have improved over the last 6 months. And Q3 was the worst expectations we had. Q3 2019. At that point, we had like 60% of the respondents saying they expected lower rates and volumes for the next 3 months compared to the 3 months of the third quarter of 2018. Excuse me. That's how we kind of ask it. We ask them, what do you expect for the next 3 months compared to the same period of the year prior? But right now, we have like pretty much a dead even heat between positive, negative, and neutral.
Really?
Yeah, it's like 33% all the way across the board for rates and for volumes.
Speaking of surveys, we're blasting out a podcasting one. You guys listen to us. We want to listen to you. And my master plan in getting the FreightWaves Research Group a podcast was that it's like a beaver. You know, you give them sticks, they're going to do things. So you give them a podcast, they're going to start researching it because it's in your nature.
It is. It's in our blood.
Our evil plan has worked perfectly, and you guys are now doing it, and now you have some focus on podcasting, and you're making. So how do people find this survey?
We do. We're actually, it will be available on the website here soon, but we're also going to send out an email this afternoon with a link to all the FreightWaves subscribers. So check your inboxes and be looking for that. As you said, the only way to make things better is to listen to our customers, our people that are listeners. So we want to hear from you. We want to hear what you want to hear more of, what you want to hear less of, and we hope to make everything better.
We appreciate your time today. We have a hard stop because we have to do a call out.
Understood.
Cassandra was just rambling on forever.
I mean, she's a hoot. She's very valuable. She's helping us a lot with our paper that will be coming out, I think, this afternoon or tomorrow on nuclear verdicts.
Oh, wow.
She's been a major source of that.
Hey, Cassandra.
Thank you.
Scott Carver, by the way, is throwing shade at you, Chad. He said, wear that Titan sweater to bed tonight. You'll probably have to hang it up after this week. Good luck.
Oh.
Hey, maybe I will, but hey, all I can do is wear it until then. Thanks so much.
I'm here in the booth with him. I hope he washes it.
All right. Thanks, lads.
Thank you, Andrew Cox.
All
Fantastic.
right, let's call Brandon up and talk about speaking of Titans, talking about Nashville. We're going to be going to an air cargo conference up in Nashville.
Yes. Brandon.
5, count of 5, 5 good minutes.
Let's see here.
He is the executive director and
industry advocate,
an association leader, and air cargo expert at the Air Forwarders Association.
He sure is.
This is Brandon.
Look at that. We got his
I can't
voicemail.
come to the phone right now.
Should we leave him a voicemail?
Number and then a message.
Yeah.
All
right, we're gonna leave him a
back to you
voicemail.
as soon as possible.
Ask him about the Air Cargo 2020.
At the tone, please record your message.
All right.
When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press
This is
1 for
exciting
more options.
podcasting. All right, hey Brandon, this is Dooner and Prevost with Welcome to Truck.
Hey!
We were calling you to talk about Air Cargo 2020 Nashville.
And this is live.
So give me a call back in the next few minutes if you get a chance. Otherwise, we'll catch up with you during next week or at Air Cargo 2020. One way or the other, we're coming. All right, take it easy. All right, well, there's our message to him. What do we know about it so far? So without his help, we can tell you this. Craig Fuller is a keynote from there, right?
Yeah.
He's going to be a keynote.
He's going to be a keynote, and on the second day,
Guy who has me over the moon.
It is an air cargo. It's 2020. It's in Nashville from January 26th to 28th.
Yeah, but what about this guy? This guy has me over the moon here. It's Mark Weiss, no pun intended, the NASA Kennedy Space Center Gateway Logistics Element Manager. He's going to unpack the agency's plan for the commercial supply chain in deep space that will enable an interplanetary economy and support Artemis lunar exploration. They say data's the new gold, but the real thing is like asteroids. There's actually like gold and like tungsten and stuff that you make cell phones with and stuff.
I think data's the new oil.
Data's the new oil?
Yeah.
What happened to being the new gold?
Oil's more valuable, I guess.
Another one is
Susie Schoenberg. She's passionate about matching corporate assets to the needs of nonprofit organizations to tackle humanity's biggest challenges. That's a very big aspiration.
There's going to be some big names in there, not just mine and yours and Craig Fuller's in those speakers. Everyone from Alaska Airlines to XBO. If you're part of the air cargo world, this is the place to be. It might even be dog-friendly based on the video Emily Zink showed me earlier today. It's got people register. How do they register, Chad?
They register by going to the site, and it is, I can tell you right now, it's aircargoconference.com. And if you want to see more, go /agenda.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. So Donnie's here, so let's not keep him waiting. Let's bring him in and do a little earnings over under.
Bring in
Hey,
the market
Mr.
expert for earnings.
Earnings over under.
We're good.
We're good.
We're good. We're good. Have you done your homework?
No.
Okay.
Well,
Well, that's even better.
great.
All right. Hopefully you
Put
guys.
on your cans, buddy.
Put on
Yeah.
my cans.
So we'll make Chad go first, since I don't. Have you ever played this game with us before?
No.
Okay, so if you guys are the first time tuning in, you haven't played this game. It's earnings over under. We look at earnings per share, which is a consensus estimated earnings per share that the market has. A group of experts decide, and you guys decide if it went over or under. If they made their earnings, they did better or they did worse. So the first one here, Chad will go first, is
Okay.
the Greenbrier Companies. They are an American publicly traded transportation manufacturing corporation based in Lake Oswego, Oregon. Greenbrier specializes in transportation services, notably barge and railroad manufacturing, railcar refurbishment, and railroad leasing management services. Estimated earnings per share, 44 cents, Mr. Prevost.
I'm going to say under because I think that sector in the economy is weak right now.
Okay.
I have to agree on that because rail took a hit this year, especially truckload. So definitely you saw them coming out over and over and over again this year. All these carriers, transportation companies, bam, down.
You guys would be right. And it wasn't very good for them. So it was 30 cents. Estimated earnings per share
Wow.
was 44. So they came substantially under. Revenue fell 16% sequentially
Nice
from
job.
the $914 million they reported last quarter. The merger with American Rail helped growth and add scale, but not enough. Industry railcar orders are falling and railroads are cutting costs. Seeking Alpha says it appears to be downhill from here. Sell GPX. This isn't my advice. That's Seeking Alpha. They're saying that
Yeah.
they're out on it. If you have FreightWaves sonar, you can look into this stuff too. You can get all that kinds of data.
It's amazing the number that we're counting the rail cars that were parked this year
Yeah.
and the engines that were parked this year just to tighten up capacity.
Tighten up.
Keep it within a fist.
Keep it within a fist.
Your voice is beautiful, Donnie.
That's good technique, right?
By the way, Christopher Baker's in there too. Hey, Christopher Baker, thanks for joining us today, sir. All right, MSC Industrial. MSC Industrial is a top source for networking tool and MRO needs. They have over 1.5 million products from industry-leading suppliers, so big distributor in that industrial space. Earnings per share, $1.16. Donnie.
I'm still going with under.
Okay.
Industrial struggled this year as well.
Well, for the same reasons I would agree, but I'm going to play the game. I'm going to say over.
Well, you'd be a smart man to do that.
Yeah!
It's $1.21. The company had revenue of $823.6 million during the quarter, compared to analyst estimates of $820.84. So not a huge win, but enough of a win.
It was a plus.
Yeah, you'll take it.
Yeah.
You know what's funny though? I think they were one of those stocks where like they beat earnings per share, but the market still didn't like the revenue. So they beat the earnings. You temper the market, but sometimes it doesn't care.
Yes, by all
Yeah.
means.
Still a great quarter, guys.
Yeah. Here's one for you guys. Bed Bath & Beyond. Earnings per share, 2 cents. This brick and mortar space.
Ah,
Bed Bath & Beyond. Throw pillows. Throwing the money away.
boy, are they hurting in that area, but 2 cents is so low.
Yeah.
I'm going to say over and risk my lead.
I'm going to say under again because I think Bed Bath & Beyond made the list of companies that might possibly go bankrupt in the next few years.
You are right. It was massively under. They lost 38 cents per share. The retailer's net loss of 38 cents a share in its third fiscal quarter was nowhere near Wall Street's consensus estimates of that 2 cents. So just terrible. I mean, like you couldn't be worse. Sales came in under the $2.8 billion mark that analysts had expected, while some store sales fell 8.3% year over year. Management also withdrew its full year outlook. So they're like, okay. we gotta rewrite this one. You can't throw a big smoke screen up, right? You can't. There's not that many things you can say in an earnings call when you lose that much per share, especially when the market thought you were going to have 2 cents.
Wow, boy, will my wife be disappointed.
That's how I remember that was my wife shops there.
What am I going to get her for
Hurry up and buy it before it goes.
Mother's Day?
That's not for a while, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Valentine's Day first. Do you ever get
one
like
thing at a time.
Do you get your wife gift for Valentine's Day?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh,
Donnie's like, no.
Within a day or two.
Like a throw pillow, maybe a card, a rose from a guy on the street.
Something from the dog.
the dollar store?
No, something for the dogs.
For the dogs.
He has a whole farm.
Have a whole farm.
Oh yes. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, the Simply Good Foods Company. If you want to get something nice for the dogs, earnings per share is this? I believe it's Donnie, right? 21 cents.
I'm going to go over this time. Expenditures on animals have been going up the past several years. I'm going with over.
All right. This isn't even animal food, but all right. What about
Chad?
you?
I will go under just for the game, just for the love of the game.
Oh, I love hitting this one.
Oh, yes, you do. Oh man, I'm losing.
I probably should have explained who this company was because you thought it was dog food. They make Quest bars in their holdings. They have Quest bars.
Oh, I
They
would
have-
have if I had known
We're
that.
going up for
They
sure.
have the Atkins line of products. So those are their two big things. So
Oh, yeah.
they reported financial results for the quarter for 2020. Sales grew an impressive 26% year over year to 152.2 million. But operating costs also surged, including a one-time charge for loss in fair value charge of contingent consideration. Cost more than doubled to 65.2 million, wiping out all of the company's gross profit and pushing Simply Good Foods into an operating loss. But they did have that one-time charge, so maybe not so bad. Maybe
Again.
next quarter, good quarter, guys.
Food that I feed to my
great
feed to my dogs.
Oh, the tangled webs we weave.
All right, here's an interesting one. This is if you have Robinhood, this is one that's always in the top 100. If you have any interest in marijuana stocks or things like that, you might have got wrapped into this one.
Yeah.
When I actually started my Robinhood account, my whole master plan was to invest in like marijuana stocks and just like park some money there. That lasted like 2 months, and I got bored and moved all my money to other stuff. But Constellation Brands, earnings per share,
That's for me.
$1.84.
Under.
All right.
I think the industry is struggling there, but take it, see what you can do.
Well, I was going to go with over till he said he got bored with his money. So I mean that's a definite sound. But I'm still going to say over.
You are a smart
Because,
man.
you know-
You just won the game on that one.
Nice. You could have won anyway by saying under.
I had to go high.
Yeah.
Good job on your very first appearance.
Yeah, so it was over at 214.
Had to go high.
They beat their full year guidance as losses from what they had was a marijuana stock. So they invested in this company. Constellation Brands invested in who's the man? The name evades me, but they invested. It also starts with CGC, I believe it is. Consumer Growers Corp is the one they invested big money in, and it's a Canadian medical marijuana company. Hasn't really turned in the big profits or grown the profits. No pun intended. But they also have Corona and Modelo, and here's what's interesting. They're going to make a Corona seltzer because a lot of money's moving away from like wine and beer to these alcoholic seltzers and spirits. Like Zima is like the new huge thing, although it's not called Zima anymore. It's called like White Claw.
Yeah, in the alcohol industry, my family's been in the alcohol industry for years, but the sales have peaked out years and years ago.
Yeah.
So there's no more room for much growth. If you put a new product into that market, you have to take market share from somebody else. So it's very difficult, and that's what a lot of them have actually done.
Wow.
Do you guys make that alcoholic seltzer now?
We do not have any of that yet,
Oh.
but I'm sure as soon as it comes out, they will start pushing it.
I used to just take like the Poland Springs and the vodka, and you make your own.
That's old school.
Yeah.
Mix your own drinks, but now everybody wants those pre-mixed.
You can take it to the fair with you, like
Yeah,
a road dog.
You
It's
bought
those
you bought tequila and margarita mix. Now
Yeah.
it's about pre-mixed, and you don't have to do nothing but pour it over ice.
But don't they use like malts and stuff? You can't use like actual like vodka and stuff in like a White Claw. I think it's like
All right.
malt liquor.
All right, now those were sold in the gas stations, and in most states, yes, they got to be malt based.
Yeah.
Where in Tennessee, if it's alcohol based, it has to be a specific liquor store.
Wow.
All
I
right.
mean, he's a market expert in a variety of
Yeah.
sectors.
Of
very,
sectors.
very
Yeah.
nice job, Donnie.
Thanks for
Great
joining
to have
us.
you on. We got to
right.
do this more often.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
Boy, I mean, took my lead and
Have a great weekend.
saw me in the dust.
Y'all too.
Well, that was
Thanks.
exciting stuff. I mean, it's the good news is Don he won, but the bad news is that you lost.
It is bad.
Has a bad news and good news.
Yeah. Okay. Christopher Baker says White Claw is the new Bud Light. Is it the new Bud Light Lime? Or Bud Light Orange? They put all sorts of weird, like they'll do anything to make, like, any gimmick now to make people buy alcohol. Is it just because it's too diverse?
It's so insidious.
Yeah, I know.
Those
Okay.
millennials don't want to drink anymore.
They just want to do weed.
Yeah, they just want to kind of vape, I guess. I don't know.
All right, well, here's the good news. Good news, Trimble requests extension to FMCSA for repair mandate. But the bad news is that the reason they need to do it is because their ELDs are still suffering from clock sync issues. That Y2K20 bug. Only in trucking would you get hit with a Y2K bug 20 years after the fact, Chad.
Wow. Well, at least it wasn't Y2K 2020, right? Good news. Hiring for the final month of 2019 capped a year of steady gains in employment, indicating the American labor market has not run out of breath. Bad news. Sluggish growth and uncertainty overseas, combined with a maturing labor market at home, contributed to slimmer payroll gains.
What does that mean? They're paying people less? Lower paying jobs?
Yeah, basically, even
Seasonal
though
work?
unemployment is at 3.5, it did, usually historically that means, you're going to get paid more, wages go up. Well, it's been like that, and then wages barely went up.
Yeah, and I imagine like a lot of those people who are getting jobs, especially in that final quarter, are seasonal help. People like warehouse workers,
Possibly.
retail workers. I don't know.
Possibly.
Might be less from the year. Walmart's been making those. Did you hear about the robots? They have grocery robots now because they're getting more and more online orders. But it's not.
I would prefer that.
It's not like a. It's disappointing because it's not like a bipedal robot. It's not like an exoskeleton or a Terminator walking
It's
around.
just one of those.
It's a robotic machine, like a conveyor belt. I feel like calling that a robot's a stretch. I mean, even though it is. I don't know. Maybe
a
cyborg.
telephone is a robot by these
I guess so.
standards,
I know. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so White House, this is good news. White House proposes slashing timelines for highway projects. The full effects of the reform will not be, but here's the bad news. The full effects of the reform will not be realized until Congress addresses a permanent revenue solution for the Highway Trust Fund and passes a new highway investment bill. This is
That's really bad news.
Well, it's an argument that's been going on for 4 years.
I know.
So it's like, yeah, we need to do this. And like the worst thing about the news is like they recognize that it's a problem that is only degrading and getting worse. And I know that on Off the Supply Chain, you guys had that infrastructure one.
Yep.
We also had that unaired episode that I won of infrastructure.
They had to say that you won. Yes.
Well, there was that's the hidden episode.
Well, and I've been writing about it ever since I even joined FreightWaves ages ago, and it's the same thing.
Wait, where were you writing about the highway before you got here?
No, I mean ever since I've joined.
Since you joined FreightWaves.
Yeah,
It's the same story.
Yeah.
You can just like recycle, just change the date line.
Exactly. Okay, well, I've got some good news. American defenses have vastly improved in the 4 years since Russian hackers and trolls mounted a broad campaign in the 2016 presidential election. Facebook is on the lookout for threats it barely knew existed in 2016, such as fake ads paid for in rubles and self-proclaimed Texas secessionists logging in from St. Petersburg. Voting officials are getting educated about bots and ransomware. So this is great news, right?
Yeah.
Bad news. The cybercrime landscape is evolving and the Russians are back and piggybacking on Iranian networks.
I mean, do they care? Like, shouldn't Facebook maybe just ban political ads?
I don't understand why they're so stubbornly like
the money. I mean, you got to pay the Zuck, right?
I guess you got to pay the Zuck.
You got to pay the Zuck. He wants the money because they could do it. I mean, it brings up this great debate of like, and this is a debate that's coming out more and more often. It's actually a lot of like Gen Zs are like they hate Facebook, for example. A lot of millennials hate Facebook too because a lot of boomers came on and they took it over, right? Basically. And they get very political and it gets very charged. And I don't think that, like, people who want to just use social media to see their friends living a better life than them, we don't need all this politics in our life. So we'll just be on Instagram or we'll dance on TikTok.
Which is owned by Facebook.
I know, you can't get away from them. You can't get away from them or even streaming on Facebook. Hey, Zuck, don't close off the feed. But what do you do? Because it can be you can create these information bubbles, and they've been doing studies on that now, and you can create echo chambers, and people just it creates a lot of confirmation bias.
Let's start a platform and call it Echo Chamber.
Yeah. All right. Well, here's some good news. Arendelle, the town from Frozen. Look at this. We're just getting bombarded by Chinese messages. I don't even know. He must be a
We need
bot.
Google Translate. Where
Nathan
are you?
Floyd. What is going on here? I don't even know. This is what happens. You know, that's the conspiracy. They just read our messages, and now he's just bombarding us.
Wow.
Okay.
For reals.
Nathan Floyd, chill. Good news, Arendelle, the town from Frozen, exists. Bad news, the locals hate tourists, so stay home. According to CNN, the Alpine village of Hellstadt, nestled in Austria's
Go for it.
Salzkammergut Mountains in the district of Gmunden was the...
Kammergut.
All of these names sound so, like, fantastical, right? Was the inspiration for Disney's epic sisterly adventure of frigid kinship. The village has become Insta-famous, talk about Instagram, driving hordes of tourists to this quaint hamlet.
Oh, I know.
And while the tourist dollar has become a crucial driver of the local economy, the people there are hating all of this attention. And it's not just Americans. I guess a lot of Chinese people, too, are they love the Frozen, and they love this village. What do you think?
I think that it's terrible. Like, you know, I mean, like I was in Montenegro, you know, and it's like I could just imagine like this. It's an old ancient city, and if it's just completely overtaken by tourists all the time, it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
And it must be even worse.
Well, people were saying that you can't even, like, every time they try to take a picture, like a selfie, they couldn't be a
people
selfie.
around.
It would be like there would always just be people inadvertently photobombing you. Because they're all walking around trying to like, here I am in the Frozen village.
Sounds
Here's
awesome.
Sven going up to people's reindeers.
And the thing is, it's a cartoon. It's not even really the place.
I know, and that's not really Sven. That's someone's real reindeer. It's a living animal.
Okay, well, I've got some more good news. The Titans have made the playoff divisional round.
Yeah.
Bad news.
Hmm?
Raven quarterback Lamar Jackson is 3-0 in primetime games this season, throwing for 11 touchdowns and no interceptions. The Titans are one of 8 teams to allow more than 4,000 passing yards and 25 touchdown passes this season.
You know, they're regarded as having a good defense, but you know what's funny? Here's a little inside baseball for you.
Ooh,
When the
inside football.
Titans Patriots, when that game was going to happen, the Titans were actually a very well constructed team
Yes.
to play the Patriots, because the Patriots, what they excelled at was their secondary. And Tannehill, I mean, he made actually a couple clutch throws, but you don't. If they're down by 14,
You're not
they're not
depending
coming
on it.
back.
Yeah.
They can't. I mean, they need that. How big is Chris Henry? Like 250 pounds, 6'3"?
255. And
He's a
he
moose.
runs 21 miles an hour.
He's a moose. He's a gazelle. He's Sven.
He's a horse.
He's Sven. He's a horse. All right, here's a bonus one. This is good news, right? Death Row Records. We were talking about the 90s at the beginning of this, that 90s music. I remember listening to, I mean, this is music at the time, gangster rap. It like defied cultural boundaries. I mean, I was listening to 9 Inch Nails and The Chronic at the same time in my car, just mixing them up together.
So stereotypical.
But Death Row Records that officially has a new home. Bad news, it's Hasbro. Hasbro.
I mean, either what has become of Death Row or what has become of Hasbro.
I don't know. Hasbro and Disney just own everything. Hasbro Toy Company completed its $3.8 billion acquisition of Entertainment One Ltd., presumably to capture Toyline. So if you have kids, you probably know these scourges of your life. Pepper the Pig and PJ Masks.
Never heard
Into
of
the
him.
night to save the day.
Peppa the
PJ
Pig.
Masks. You don't know PJ Masks?
Negative.
Oh, all right. Well, they are, this holding company owns that, and Hasbro wants the toys because they want to control every toy, apparently. But this notorious, they also have inadvertently, they got the most notorious gangster rap level. But here's, I found this interesting. It's Brian Goldner, he's Hasbro's chairman, and here's what he said about this. We are excited about what we can do together and see tremendous opportunity for shareholder value creation through this acquisition. Our businesses are highly complementary. Hasbro and Death Row are highly complementary with substantial synergies and a great cultural fit. Like, does he even know what he just bought? The addition of E1
That's a lot to take in. $3.8 billion.
accelerates our blueprint strategy by expanding our brand portfolios with E1's beloved global preschool brands, adding grown TV and film expertise and creating additional opportunities for long-term profitable growth. We are pleased to welcome the incredibly talented E1 team to our company. I look forward to the Death Row expanded universe, cinematic universe.
Are you going to get some for your kids?
Some Death Row like action figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could get like a little Suge Knight.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? All right, now is the time that we hear back from you guys. The audience, leave a comment here. We'll read it, but we're going to read some of the best comments, the comments that got people supercharged on FreightWaves.com, and a little thing we like to call
Comment section rodeo.
Yow!
right, this is from the article. Second court puts big hit on imposing AB5 against California trucking sector, and this was too lazy to pay.
to pee.
Yeah. They say that money talks. Wrong. Money screams. Seems like we have the golden rule in effect. The guy with the gold makes the rules. It just makes sense to figure that if the big guys, employers, are for a plan that benefits them, then the little guys get not so much. This is not rocket science. This is truck driver 101.
Yeah.
That's my zip code.
And
area code.
This is from the Gear Jammer 25-8. Give a guy some faith in the institutions. Hope NY is listening. Progress is good. The job industry has changed. Most people have one job to cover insurance and a gig or part-time side hustle. The job market is shifting. Education costs are overvalued. CEO pay isn't proportional. Shifting industry overseas, bad. Lots going on, 30 years or so.
Dave says AB5 equals absolute bull. Fifth attempt.
Oh, AB5.
Yes.
I get it. Yeah, from the article, court upholds ruling that Walmart pay California drivers $54.6 million for layover time. Talk about fighting the war on detention.
Yeah.
Chuck says, what about the rest of us that sit at Walmart for 8 to 9 hours waiting to get unloaded on a regular basis? How about we just not deliver to Walmart anymore, jerk-offs?
New York vet says, how about you get your 3 years with a clean record and apply to drive for Walmart? Funny how you call them jerk-offs now, but if you got on with them and started pulling in twice or more than you're making now, you'd be happy. So who's the jerk-off now? I like when they get into little fights and skirmishes in the comment section, don't you?
Oh, I do. And good points to both of them.
Yeah.
From the article, Trucking Math, Why a Mile Isn't Necessarily a Paid Mile. Yeah. William Kerrigan writes, then work for a company that pays hub miles. Companies generally pay the same miles that they bill the customer. I have been on the desk side of trucking for 27 years. I do not own a company, but I know enough to understand that not all companies are evil and most care about their drivers. Do your homework, folks. Do not assume that it is us against them.
Jason says, I actually like how Amazon is paying its carriers these days using time blocks instead of miles. I feel like it doesn't make much sense to pay carriers this way, but I like the idea in general in terms of driver compensation. Pay a driver for time blocks instead of miles driven so drivers don't get shortchanged by low mileage routes or end up driving tired trying to squeeze in more miles.
But isn't that guaranteed pay?
Yeah, that's basically what he's saying.
Yeah. I mean, people do that. Do your homework, right? Scott Lynn Parsons, about the same story, says, it really doesn't matter what you call it. Everything you touch came off a truck. You better treat them good, damn good. If they keep getting ripped off, they may decide to stay home with their families. Then you would starve. The country would come to a halt.
Huh.
You know.
Bob Simmons, he was just like, he's not having any of this. He said, you guys are the new breed truckers. Big sissies.
Oh,
interesting. So
well.
I think we have time to read maybe these two bonus ones down at the bottom here, too. So drivers are safer, but insurance costs continue to rise. Mike says this, installing a stopwatch on the dashboard of an 80,000-pound vehicle is for safety? Laugh my effing AO.
LMFAO.
I recently parked my authority, could no longer afford the insurance. I was told to expect a 30% to 100% raise in my premiums on the first of the new year. I did not wait around to find out and find an outfit to lease on with. I am a one-truck operator. I drive and own the truck outright. And I have been out here for 31 years, safely, no tickets in many, many years, and never an accident, knock on wood. I have all of the endorsements on my license, TWIC, etc. I am what they say, squeaky clean, and I want to stay that way. When speaking with my insurance agent, they are nationwide. I was told that in the past 2 years, starting in 2018, accidents and fatalities involving big rigs are up substantially. She also informed me that there are only 2 insurance companies left out there that will underwrite a policy. 2, in other words, the actual insurers and having issues as the cost of the claims are going through the roof. You know what? I own an EPA truck, as they are neither inexpensive to own, much less repair. I unfortunately own one, and I can complete and I can completely see the insurance company's side on this. We have a real problem here, Houston, and it's going to go critical in the coming months if something is not done. And knowing the FMCSA, they will tighten regulations on the drivers again, and the opposite of the desired result will be the outcome. You know, you cannot fix stupid. Me, I'm parking the truck. I've had it.
Well, the reason that I liked that comment and wanted us to read it in full, like I was like, I really felt and understood the frustration from an owner operator. I mean, we read it, with we're trying to deliver some of the emotion, but you have to imagine. I mean, we talk about the nuclear verdicts and rising insurance costs, and he gets it in a certain sense, but it's squeezing people. I mean, not just brokers who aren't tech enabled, small brokerages. It's obviously like he owns his own truck and he can't afford it.
Yeah, there's no way for him to mitigate that.
So I really get a clearer sense of the frustration. I mean, while the regulations are here to stay, and as Cassandra Gaines said earlier, like the ELD thing was long overdue. Yeah. But it still feels like there's just so many things. Like I surely if HOS could be solved very soon, that could alleviate some of the regulatory pressure and stress. Anyway.
Well, hold on a second. So that's a good segue to one little thing here. Kevin Hill of Great Quarter Guys, the better half of Andrew Cox, he is going to be on our very show on Monday to talk about this white paper he's been doing with Cassandra Gaines. And because we had to cut Andrew a little bit short just because of time, we will also get a little bit more into that podcasting survey, maybe even have some results from you. And, we're more than happy to hear what you guys want live.
Yeah, that would be great. And I think they are conducting a study on this very subject. I think we have an article coming out as well on nuclear verdict.
Yeah, that's the white paper.
Yeah. That's what Seth Home is publishing. It's going to be fascinating to hear what the results are. I
mean, think about it. That's why you have Mad Gaines. That's why we're getting those Mad Gaines. That's why you had to make a segment on the show, and why we have to always stay in touch with Cassandra, because these issues, like, think of how many times we've published these stories now, almost as much as closings, these crashes, these nuclear verdicts. Yeah. And a crash is just like a nuclear verdict waiting to happen.
Yeah, it's there's got to be a way. I mean, it's a tort reform issue, and various industries get hit with it or are under need with it. It's obviously there must be a cap. I don't know. Some of them are really ridiculous. Finally, Steve says people in about the same topic. Steve says people in Canada, including myself, have got their feet so damaged that they have been unable to work. The e-logs have a very high human cost. The government and the insurance companies' new rates just reflect those extra costs. The solution is not to bring in more drivers, but put a plan in place to make sure the truck drivers here get the medical help and care they need.
So on FreightWaves Radio this weekend, Dean is going to call and talk about that sleep apnea issue. If it's overdiagnosed, what's important with it. Dean is kind of a sleep expert. He's got the CDL. He's on the road.
He is a sleep expert. Yes.
Yeah, and you know what's amazing about him? He needs to get some rest. I tried to kick him off the show because he's in Hawaii on vacation, and I said, Dean, you can't come on. You're on vacation. He's like, no, I have to. It's such a big issue. I have to do it. And he said, I can do it in my sleep. I think it was some sort of a pun.
Yeah, and without putting you to sleep.
Without putting you to sleep.
It's very the things he can talk about.
Yeah, we'll be joined by, that's on channel 146, Road Dog Trucking, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be joined by Anthony Smith on that one. We're also going to be talking about Trucker Math, that big article we had on there. We'll dive deeper into some of these stories like AB5. And we'll probably continue the conversation about a topic that has just really been engaging the listeners right now, is just driver retention. We've covered it a few times on this show.
Oh, sure.
And each time we stop, you think you're done with that one, and then someone offers some new opinion or some new perspective. And there's so many sides to this issue on retention, and none of them really see eye to eye, but you can all see kind of where they're coming from.
Yeah. And by the way, I mean, back to sleep for a minute. It's like sleep is a fascinating subject because we actually continue to learn as we're studying and getting better with technology about studying the brain and how it works. We're still learning more and more and more about the benefits of sleep, our rhythms, how we can so easily be disrupted by it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great intel on it. And so yet another reason why being a driver is a stress. You you have to maintain your rhythms or you get dramatically thrown off, and you can't just catch right back up with it. You don't just sleep suddenly 16 hours the day after you got 3 and think, oh, I'm all tanked back up. It takes a long cycle to get back into rhythm.
Well, in primo driving hours too, they don't align with the circadian rhythm of the human beings. A lot of times those are at nights. That's actually genius. Like put a blue light in your truck when you have to replicate sunlight, and make your cab extra dark when you need it to be that. You can't block out the sunlight to try and trick your body to be in those right rhythmic flows.
And strangely enough, or perhaps ironically enough, I think that is why the inflexibility of HOS creates so many unforetold problems and curtailing drivers what they're able to do. I think that I don't know. I know it's for safety. If I were going radical, I would just be like, kill HOS.
Yeah.
Just kill it.
JD from TTN, he's threatened to call in on radio to scream about the Lime scooters.
Oh.
He's very upset,
Okay.
very passionate about that issue, and I like some people, it's just great when they're worked. Some people are terrible when they're worked up. Like, you're just scared of them and you want to be away. And then some of them, you're like, you kind of you get giddy when they're upset because
it's an infectious
funny.
energy.
Yeah, because they're just funny about how they're mad, like a Sam Kinison or something.
Yeah. Well, that sounds fascinating. You can get worked up on the issue, right?
Uh-oh. Who's this? Is this? Hello? You're live? Is he connecting through here? I don't hear anyone. Here we go. Hold on a second. Hello?
Just get spammed?
Tim?
Yes, hi. Is this Brandon?
I'm sorry, is this Tim Dooner?
Who is this?
This is Charles with Sirius XM.
Oh, hey, Charles. We are live on What the Truck right now, so it's kind of funny. You're on our show. We're going to be on your show in a little bit.
Oh, hey. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Hello, everybody listening. I was actually just calling just to confirm, so I will be back to you in 30 minutes, man.
Sounds perfect. So, guys, turn on Sirius XM, channel 146, if you want to continue hearing me talk. Thanks,
Sirius
Charles.
XM, channel 146, yeah.
All right, take it easy.
That's a Roger.
That's the best thing about live radio. All right, guys, it sounds like I got to get ready for something else, but if you want to follow me at Timothy Dooner, that's DOONER. This is what ad Chad Prevost?
Yeah, simple enough.
The old provolone. If you want to follow... Oh, Chad, is it 2 o'clock?
It is.
It is 2 o'clock. You know what else happens at 2 o'clock? What the Truck is now at 2 o'clock on Mondays.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yes,
Used to be
don't
at 3:30,
forget.
now at 2
We'll
o'clock.
see you then.
Also on FreightWaves Social, all-day live streams on LinkedIn, on our YouTube, on our Facebook, on our FreightWaves TV app. Go download that thing and get crazy with yourself. FreightWaves.
Check it out.
The audio side, you want to take us walking, take us to the gym where you're getting your own mad gains, go to Freightcast, subscribe to that on your favorite podcast player of choice, or subscribe to What the Truck on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, everywhere podcasts are heard around the world.
Yeah, thanks for making us a top 20 in iTunes Business and News podcast.
Little cowbell for the Titans' chances
Thanks
this
for
weekend.
sharing the love.
Will Chad have to wash his sweater? Tune in Monday. It's the only way to find out. Should we make a little bet on that one? We have to do the Monday show shirtless, Chad, if they lose on what? The Truck! We gotta make that happen. What else we got going on? Little cowbell for everybody to have a great weekend. Little cowbell for
Little cowbell for live TV streaming.
Little cowbell for that guy who was very frustrated about his insurance, and a little cowbell for each and every one of you. Take care.
Bye.